Helmets gleaming in the sun. Houston headhunters, baby, watch us get it done. Critter on grit, we ain't playing for fun. Every yard we take it feels like a home run. SFL kings, yeah, we wear the crown. Opponents see the H, then they backing down. We stomp like thunder, leave them in the ground. Ain't no mercy in the game when the hunters come around. Lace them up, strap them tight. We going hard Friday night. Houston headhunters, we don't lose. Taking heads, making moves. SFL champs, that's our groove. Houston pride, we refuse to snooze. Steel on the line, got a wall you can't breach. Our QB slinging rockets, every throw's a peach. Receivers in the end zone, defenses get impeached. Coach got a game plan, no lesson we can't teach. We hunt like wolves, sharp teeth, no leash. Run game strong, yeah, the field's our feast. From the south we rise, bringing heat like the beach. Houston headhunters, best team, capiche? Lace them up, strap them tight. We going hard Friday night. Houston headhunters, we don't lose. Taking heads, making moves. SFL champs, that's our groove. Houston pride, we refuse to snooze.
The Houston Headhunters, your new #1 team in the Simulation Football League. And I see a couple of them in the chat right now. Damon Simeon and the Lake Man with us. Welcome to the Matt Wilson SFL Kickoff Show. I'm Mike Daggs. He's Gerald Smith, Cameron Irvine, Ron Haynes on production. Welcome to Week 11, Season 25 in the Simulation Football League. Gerald, how do you like Houston's little
I like it. So when I
jingle?
heard it, I'm like, yeah, that's the way to say I'm #1 in the league right now by getting your song played
That's it.
on the Matt Wilson Kickoff Show.
#1's #1. That's how we start Week 11.
Well deserved as
yeah,
well.
heck yeah. And
But I don't know any other team that has their own song like that.
yeah,
so.
I'm jealous. I got to find out who that was that made that song. We got to have him do a custom song for our show.
Yeah, I know. That'd be
Yeah.
great. Damon, hook us up.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know. Not right now because we can't pay attention right
No.
now. We got a show to do. There's work to be done here. We got to get Week 11 started, and we'll do so by first off recapping a really great Week 10. We've talked about one-score games in the past. How about one-point games? There wasn't just one game that was 1 point or two games. There was 3 games that were 1 point games last week.
It was something really good. I liked it because my picks were almost on point last week, but it was really good to see that everything seems to start to kind of come together, right? With some of these games, we thought they were going to be complete blowouts,
Yeah.
or even lopsided one way or the other, and that's not really what we got.
Cam in the chat. We don't normally see Cam in the chat, but he's in there. He says he thinks it was the Big Twang theory that made the made the jingle. I don't think it was, and I don't think I want them anywhere near our show's theme song. But anyway, yeah. So yeah, with 3 1-point games, we had Fort Worth Toros narrowly losing to the Vancouver Legion. That game was a lot closer than we thought it might be. 24-23, Vancouver gets the win, advances on to 6-1. The Washington Trident with a last-second, almost a walk-off touchdown to take the lead over Minnesota. 14-13, they get the win, another one-pointer. And Queen City, how about Buffalo getting the win over Oklahoma City, 17-16. So some close games.
And these games were closer than what you want, right? Like, I chose Washington, I believe, to beat Minnesota. And I actually thought Queen City was going to beat OKC by a lot bigger.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Vancouver against Fort Worth.
Yeah.
Not so lopsided as we may have thought.
No, exactly. And games that we thought might have been a little bit more lopsided the other way. Pittsburgh, Louisiana North. First off, how'd you like your surprise?
Look, it was amazing. Look, I told Corey, I told everybody, look, I appreciate that so much. It was amazing. It's good to see the green and blue get another win.
Hey, now
right?
we know where the two-legged horse ran off to.
Yeah, I know, and I know where to find him now, so I can track him down.
It's just in a pasture, just limping around or whatever.
But really awesome that they did that. It was an amazing thing. I never thought, hey, look, me referring to him at Louisiana North, that would even be a thing.
It caught on.
It was awesome.
Well, when you say it 14,372 times, eventually it sticks. But Hey, it was a great. Sorry, it was. I'm not really. It was a great win for Pittsburgh, 37-14 over DC. DC now drops a couple of games and down to 6-2 after dropping 2 in a row. And Denver getting the win over Chicago, 41-28. That game, the final score is not indicative of what the game was itself. It was very close, back and forth throughout the game.
Yep.
Chicago held the lead multiple times in the game, but Denver getting that win by 13 points, 41-28. Couple of other games we had Albuquerque just stomping on Lexington, 31-3, and Detroit. How about the Maulers, 29-17 over Bossier City? We both picked Bossier City in that one, and they can't quite get it together yet.
No, look, and I think they're so much better than what their record is, but they just haven't shown it. They haven't been able to piece it together for wins.
Yeah. Arizona got the win in the Monday Night Spectacular over Charleston. I put just massive broadcaster curses on both of those teams. Neither one is a fan of mine anymore, if they even were to begin with. But Arizona, sadly for them, they have to deal with us again tonight. We got their game, and we'll get into that in just a little bit. So congratulations to all those teams who got their wins last week. Denver's defense, just one note there, Denver's defense stepped up big in that win over Chicago. 6 interceptions from that defense. I know you like to talk about them. We'll go through the top 5 real quick. Houston Headhunters, we had to play their song to start it. Why? Because they're up at the top of the current standings at 6-1. My South Division rival, coming for you. Vancouver also at 6-1 at the number 2 spot. DC still up there in the top 5 at 6-2, and the Pittsburgh Riverhogs in 4th place at 5-2. Denver Nightwings at 5-2. That is your top 5. There is one other team that has 5 wins, but they're 5-3. They're the Arizona Scorpions, currently sitting at number 7. We'll see if they're able to win tonight and move up in the rankings. So let's get into our offensive and defensive player spotlights. We didn't get to do these last week because we were too busy having you just crap all over teams. I know you had fun.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
It's
great.
Yeah, we
Put
need a little break.
smile on my face. Maybe not everybody else, but put a smile on my face.
You're a sick, twisted man. All right, let's get into the offensive player spotlight. For me, last week, I think the best offensive player was none other than the Denver Nightwings quarterback, Trellis Blanton. Let's see that footage from Mr. Ron Haynes. All right, so week 10 stats, 24 of 29, 82.8% completion percentage, 299 yards, 12 yards average, 2 touchdowns. Listen, he connected with 7 different targets in this one. Here comes the first. Right, he just throws it right over the middle, gets it out to his tight end, Mike Kleinecht. Listen, I said he had 7 different targets with catches. Kleinecht had 4 receptions for 40 yards. It was double coverage on that one. Doesn't even matter. Here's the first touchdown pass. Beautiful pass to Michael Goodman. He ended with 8 receptions, 130 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He could have had the player of the week himself if it wasn't for all these other guys who got passes. But listen, it was a 4-wide, 3rd and 10. They were trailing by a touchdown. Nice arch on the throw. You don't normally see that sort of thing. And it was a beautiful pass. Here's a 45-yarder. That one going to Logan Keel. They were trailing by a touchdown again. 1-on-1, relies on Keel to get it done. Nice yards after the catch on that one. Getting Jay Viper involved here on this next one. He had 3 catches for 34 yards. This one sets up a 1st and goal as they were trailing by a touchdown again. They get it tied up after that, and here we are tied up now, and he'll find Michael Goodman on this one, and we'll just watch Goodman on this one. Just rips past his guy, and Blanton able to find him real quick. Didn't even hesitate. Just saw Goodman, had beat the coverage, and just chucked it. I mean, beautiful play. Beautiful just design, the read. And here we go, 46-yarder. This is in the 4th quarter. Another pass to Goodman. Goodman just beat his man again, got a big gain. Darn near got another touchdown. There was a couple of plays where Goodman had some breakaway runs where he could have potentially gotten 3-4 touchdowns minimum in this one, and then we'd be talking about a whole different player of the game. But Trellis Blanton just found a way to get it done, and he is a huge reason why Denver was able to get the win, because like I mentioned about this game when we were breaking down last week's results, Chicago was in this one the whole game up until the end. In fact, I think if I remember right, they scored first. If they didn't score first, they were winning at some point early. Denver tied it up. Chicago got the lead again. Denver tied it up. Eventually, obviously, Denver was able to, outscore them in the end by quite a bit. But final score doesn't show how competitive Chicago was, but Trellis Blanton getting it done. 7 different receivers, and a few of them could. you had Logan Keel with almost 100 yards. He had 82 total. So on the season, he's now 125 out of 217. So 58% completion percentage. It's respectable. He's got about 1,700 yards and 6 touchdowns on the season. So congratulations to Trellis Blanton. I will say an honorable mention. I almost picked Bailey O'Shaughnessy because he had 22 carries, 134 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's an average of 6 yards per carry. And I know I'm the offensive guy, but kudos to that defense. 6 takeaways to give Blanton and company the opportunity to have these kind of stats and get it done. So Trellis Blanton and basically everybody on the Chicago, the Denver offense.
Look, and I couldn't agree more. Look, and the stats he put up as a quarterback right here. We know the defense gave them plenty of opportunities, but they didn't waste it. And look, and it shows that he took control of the game, was able to march the offense down the field and put points on the board to get them that win because they needed it. Even though they took the ball away 6 times, they needed those points to put up because Chicago put up a lot of points themselves.
They sure did. So that's it for the offense. Let's get into the defensive player of the week.
My defensive player of the week, the spotlight this week is Washington Trident linebacker number 44, Nicholas Warner, right? As we're going to see here, 11 tackles, 5 TFLs, 1 sack, 1 interception, and 1 pass defense last week. He was somewhat of a tackle machine, and we're going to see right here. It's going to be right here, first interception. He plays in the back right there, right? Look, and this is the thing right here. He knows how to play. He's a former DB. A lot of people don't know it, right? He's a former DB. He knows how to play the safety position. What's he do? Just, he put on a couple LBs, but he's still able to get around and do it and make it happen. Look, and here's the second quarter right here. Here's a red zone play right here in the red zone, being able to make a tackle in the backfield, a TFL right there, able to hold Minnesota to a field goal right there, been able to slow them down. And here it is again. Look at his vision right here. Read, recognize, attack right there. Really quick reaction to the ball carrier and being able to get in there and shut it down. So, and this is, look, Tim, look how he just comes to the front. It's almost like he knows what play's coming.
Yeah.
Inches up forward, knowing what's coming. That's film study that he put in each and every week, knows it, recognizes it, and be able to sit there and shut it down, right? And hear him again, a whole nother read and react right here, being able to go down there, slam him to the ground.
The closing
for
speed.
Another TFL and being able to bring him down right there.
Yeah.
Really, really quick. He taps right into his DB stuff, his quickness. He's still quick at quick feet, playing the line of scrimmage. Look how fast he got in there. It's crazy blitz. It was almost like a glitch move, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's seen what they call that movie, Wreck-It Ralph, where the girl's car be glitching. He glitched right in there and brought him down for the sack. So, and you see it right here. They had no answer for him. It was almost like he wasn't even there. Got in there so quick, and that's why all the impactful plays he's made over the course, not only his in this game, he's done over the course of his career.
Right.
Doing it for such a long time, being able to change from a safety and go to linebacker and still make such an impact at both levels. Playing the line of scrimmage, all 3. Playing the line of scrimmage real good, getting sacks, getting TFLs, and also playing in coverage and being able to tap into his former skills. So congratulations to Nicholas Warner. 66 tackles on the season with 12 assists, 16 TFLs, 2 sacks, 3 pass defense, and 2 interceptions. Congratulations to you, young man. You earned it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the sort of thing that keeps a team in a game. And, we saw the results of that game, only winning by a single point and only at the last second. So without the play from somebody like Nicholas Warner being able to get those takeaways and make those tackles, get those stops, the TFLs, TFLs, it's almost an underrated stat. Obviously, everybody knows it's important, but, when you talk about somebody that's in particular on the defensive line, obviously we're talking about a linebacker right now, but the defensive line, you'll focus on how many sacks did he get that season? Poor Dan Tritz. He's always beside himself. I only got 1 sack. But you had like 15 TFLs. It's the same thing. You're still getting, it's a loss of the down and you're losing yards. Like, who cares if it's the quarterback or another ball carrier?
It changes the play calling
Yeah.
into your favor when you're able to keep them behind
For sure.
kind of behind the chains like that. A lot of people don't realize it. Like you do that stuff. Look, you're not getting a sack, but dude, you get a TFL on a run or stuff like that. It sets them back. It's still lost short. It makes it more difficult for them to do it. It changed their whole. You actually messed up the game plan when you put them behind the sticks like that. So and that's what he did. So look, I mean, you gotta think like his like the second play that was viewed in the highlight. He got a TFL, and it allowed them to force Minnesota to kick a field goal instead of keeping their drive alive or even getting a touchdown. Because who knows? We all know they won by 1 point last week. Extremely important.
Oh, those 4 points would have made all the difference.
That's what I'm saying. So look, and that's and that's what I'm talking about. Look, you may not make an impact on every single play in terms of the stat line. Yeah. But guess what? If you're in the right place at the right time, you're in the area, it causes so much more disruption. And that's where the eye test comes in.
Yeah, and when you have lightning quickness like Warner has.
That was insane.
Yeah, he seemed to always just teleport to the right place. He's like, I'm not in the right place right now. Hang on 1 second.
Might have to call him the glitch.
There you go. There you go. You've just earned yourself a nickname and Defensive Player of the Week. So, there we go. Trellis Blanton and Nicholas Warner, congrats on the Player of the Week. Let's talk about Week 11. We've got the schedule right here. Who's on a bye week this week? We've got DC. We've got Denver. We've got Lexington, Washington. Thank goodness. Washington needs a break. Or Vancouver, I mean. Vancouver needs a break. They need to stop winning games. They need to just go have like 4 bye weeks. But DC, Denver, Lexington, Washington, Vancouver, you are all on a bye. So who do we got going on in this weekend's action? Got 4 games tonight. We've got 4 games tomorrow. And then the Monday Night Spectacular. Starting things off, we've got Arizona at Sin City. Man, I am looking forward to calling this game, and I can't wait to break this one down. Matt Wilson's mother in the chat. Z-Bull, $4.99 super chat. Hit that thumbs up button. Hit the like button. Thanks, Mike and Gerald, for doing such a great job for your SFL family. Hashtag 12 forever. Thank you very much, Carol. Appreciate your support as well. She just threw me off, just kind of like we threw out Cam the other day. So
it works.
That was fun. You owe me $50. Anyway.
Yeah, I do, don't I?
Yeah, this isn't the time for it. Let's get back into the schedule. But yeah, you do owe me $50. Arizona at Sin City. We'll break that one down in a little bit. Also in the 8 o'clock block tonight, we've got Chicago at Charleston. Chris Curtis, Rochelle Colston on the call for that one. And then at 9:45, Carolina at Mexico City. It has been literally over a month since the Aztecs have scored any points.
Yeah, and guess what? And you lost. And come off with a loss. I don't know how you dealt with it. You've been dealing with it pretty good, but I couldn't. I would have been driving myself nuts. I'm like,
I've been in the emulators.
Speed it up, Cam.
Yeah,
I got to get back in there
I
and
know.
try to win. But in my luck, I would lose. So
yeah.
It only prolonged the agony.
Makes it worse. Cameron Doody, Anthony Ellison on the call for that one. And then also in that block, Albuquerque at Detroit. Brett Solberg, Wade Phillips. And on Saturday, we start things off 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Colin and Rick back in the booth. Missed them last week. So glad that they're back in the booth for us this weekend. Baltimore at Minnesota. It's going to be a great game. And Los Angeles, Pittsburgh, DJ Kilgannon and Alex West. They're actually paired up on 2 games this weekend. That is the first. The 9 o'clock block brings us Bossier City at Fort Worth. And Gerald, this is a game that normally you'd look at the records and you'd say, well, they're certainly not going to break that one down. Is it the game of the week? No.
No.
But we're going to talk about this one. We
are.
want to break this game down because these are 2 teams that record could be flipped for both of them. We could see 6-1 and 4-2 or better. I mean, we got to talk about those teams and what has happened, why they're where they are, and who is going to get it turned around, because I think one of these teams will. Tyler Falk and Ramos Lynn on the call for that one. And to round out our Saturday, Oklahoma City at number 1 Houston Headhunters. DJ Kilgannon and Alex West on the call for that one. Good luck, OKC. Houston is just on an absolute tear right now.
They're going lights out.
Yeah, they are. Monday Night Spectacular, Florida at Queen City. I like seeing Buffalo in prime time. So see how that one goes. Charles Doherty joins Cameron Irvine once again for that call. So that is this week's action. Let's start talking about these games. Bossier City at Fort Worth. We'll break this one down first, and then we'll get into our game that we've got going on this week. And Christian Bachagalupi in the chat says, upset. Listen, man, not to spoil my pick. I'd love to see you win. I don't want Demond, cover your eyes and ears. I don't want Houston to win that game. I really don't. They're a South Division rival. I need to get ahead of Houston. The only way I can do that is if the people they're playing beat them. So I want you to win, but it's nice to want things, as they say. So let's talk about Bossier City, Fort Worth. Playoff regulars, these two teams, they're going to do battle in a season that has not gone their way. Bossier City started off 3-0 last season, 4-3 through their first 7 games, and then they finished 7-5, and they made the playoffs. This season, they're 1-6, and quite frankly, they are a loss away from cementing their spot out of the playoffs in season 25. Could they make it in at 6-6? Yeah, maybe. But we've had 7-6 or 7-5 teams like you and I've talked about so many times because that was our team that didn't make the playoffs. So 6-6, it's gonna be tough. But it is possible, especially with only 23 teams. So their first 4 losses, though, they were all by 1 score. Their win, it was by 16. So maybe they still got a chance. But then we saw their last 2 games and things got a little bit worse, losing by 10 and by 12 each. And this is where it's really kind of that final gut punch. The remaining strength of schedule is the second most difficult in the entire league. So not a great outlook for Bossier City, and things have been on a downward trend. Things aren't really much better for Fort Worth. Fort Worth is a team that I love to pick on. I can't help it. I can't help it. Yes, I went to the actual stockyards, and yes, me, Jeffrey, and Ramos all stood there with our rings on and took a selfie with the stockyard sign behind it just so that we could send it to Nacho. I'm a jerk. What can I say? But Fort Worth, let's talk about them. They're a team that has made the playoffs in 6 consecutive seasons. I pick on them, but I pick on them because I'm jealous sometimes. They are good, and they are tough to beat. They started off 3-3 through 6 games last season. They finished 7-5. They made the playoffs, and they won a playoff game. So they had a great season. This season, they're 2-4 through the first half, and they really can't afford to have a single loss going forward. You know, they end up 7-5 at the end, or there we go, 6-6. It could just spell disaster. So they started off the season with back-to-back division losses too, which just adds to the pain. But these teams are both historically good. Like I said, I feel like one of them is going to get back on track and make a playoff push. Which one's it going to be? I think it starts on Saturday.
Look, and Bossier City, we'll start out with the Steamers. The Steamers have struggled to fight the water current, right? Because there are steamers, right? They got a whole paddle boat going. They have fought the water current that is the SFL this season. On paper, they are not far off of where they were last season on both sides of the ball, right? So if you look at it on paper, statistics, it's, you know, they're doing pretty good. But offensively, they are only minus 10 yards less than what the average yards were per game last season, right? They are also on pace to turn over the ball less this season than what they did last season.
Yeah.
Johnny Pickler is also top 10 in nearly every quarterback category except interceptions, where he ranks 17th. Not really good. The run game is mediocre, but it was the same last season when they were able to make the playoffs. The only downsides this season is their point output and their third down efficiency. They rank 16th in third down efficiency on offense, 19 points a game this season versus 24 points a game last season offensively. They are a good team, and this is one thing of note as well. 5 of their 7 games have been against teams with a 500 or better record.
Yes.
So they have played some really good opponents, right? They are rank 5th in the one victory that they have, right? Because they beat a decent team, or you know what I mean? So, but they, in their remaining strength of schedule, they are 2nd, like you mentioned already. So despite having one of the most difficult schedules, they have to win games that they play. And it starts with the offense. They had to put points on the board. They got to move the ball. And they just haven't produced enough points to get that done offensively.
You know, and defensively, you could argue that they're even better than they were last season. It's a defense that's in the top half, top 10, I think. Number 9.
Number 9 total, right? But there's a couple of glaring stats in some of the categories, which explains why they are struggling. They were 8th best in takeaways last season with 20-plus takeaways.
Mhm.
This season, they are ranked 18th and only have 8 takeaways through 7 games.
Yeah.
It's not very good compared to last season, right? So they also allow 60% conversions on third downs. That ranks second to last in the league,
Yeah.
and they just haven't given their offense enough opportunities like they did last season to put points on the board. They also are in the bottom half of the SFL in sacks, which means they aren't generating enough pressure to create those turnovers that we're used to them seeing last season. Look, and for me, their key players has got to be Johnny Pickard. He's among the best when he's mistake-free, but he just hasn't been. Running back Rob Noel. They need to get more out of the run game, and because they can't expect Johnny to carry the offense. And one glaring omission: she has no interceptions. Cornerback Michaela Forker, she was on fire last season.
We highlighted her
she
twice.
Completely
last
disappeared.
Yeah.
They need to force more turnovers, and one of the key things is getting her involved.
Absolutely. The Lake Man in the chat says Bossier City's had so many weird, tough breaks this season. They have, with various injuries and just turnovers at random times. Just things, anything that could go wrong has.
Right.
So, get a different mechanic for that steamship or something.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's busted. Listen, all right, Fort Worth. I can't talk about Fort Worth without being mean. Go ahead.
So
you
look,
do.
and the Toros have been about as bipolar can get for me.
They
right?
have.
They look good at times, even in the losses.
Yep.
But then they just don't look like the disciplined team that I'm used to seeing, right? Look, and they do have the second toughest schedule. You mentioned that 5 of their 6 games were played against teams that are 500 or better. The South Division is the toughest division the SFL has been for some seasons now.
Yes.
Look, and the Toros are very talented. Look, they just been off this season, right? Look, not only have they been off this season, but they have been the last few seasons. They have progressively gotten worse, mildly, I would say worse over the last few seasons since they went 12-0. Since that season, they have gone 8-4, followed by back-to-back 7-5 seasons. And as we sit through 6 games this season, they're at 2-4.
Yeah.
So it seems like they are regressing a bit. Look, and they seem to have lost a step or two, the last few seasons. I don't know where to really point the finger, right? But the offense this season scores the exact same amount of points that the defense allows. They score 23, they give up 23. They too are a very good team, just like Bossier City. They just have played very good teams
Right.
up to this point. They have the 6th best total defense, the 8th best total offense. So why are they 2-4? Here's some more stats. They score 15 more points at home than what they do on the road. They allow 12 more points on the road than what they do at home.
Yeah.
And that's where we're at. And guess what? You guessed it. They are winless on the road. Positives. The defense is number 2 in third down, which has kept them in games. That's what's been holding them in these games and why they are the way they are and able to stay competitive. They only allow 35% conversions on third down. Offense, not as good. Rank 18th. They are well below the league average in converting those third downs. Key players that we need to get involved here for them. Jet Zero, Jay-Z Bacon, and tight end, the Cowboy, Robert Garrett Jr., because in my opinion, I said this for a lot of teams, when you get the tight end involved, especially one of this caliber, you take it to the next level, right? And that's the thing. Lauren Brococo, DC rides that train. You guys, when you get your tight end involved, really good. They need to do that right here in Fort Worth for them to get this win.
Yeah, and we're going to find out what happens. That one's on Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Looking forward to that one. Don't let the records fool you. Don't skip watching that game just because it looks like it's a couple of teams that just have bad records. I'm telling you, it's going to be a good game. And I think whoever gets the win in this one could turn their season around and make a run for the playoffs.
Everybody needs that turning point, and this could be it for both squads.
I agree. So, all right, that's it for that game. Let's get into the one that starts in just under 20 minutes time. Man, I'm looking forward to this one. We've been watching these teams throughout the season, and their seasons have gone differently to get them to this point, but here we are now. We've got 5-3 Arizona, and we've got 3-3 Sin City. So let's compare these teams through their first 3 games, shall we? Arizona starts off the season with a road victory over the defending champs. I was sad that day. Follows that up with a road victory over Lexington. So 2 games, they start off the season on the road. No team wants to start 2 games on the road, but they won them both.
Yep.
Came through weeks 1 and 2, 2-0. In their home opener, it was a loss, but it was a tough competitive game to the powerhouse of Vancouver. So can you be too upset about a one-score loss? I mean, it's still a loss, but
Right.
you know that your team is at least solid. So, pretty solid start to the season for Arizona. Sin City, they lost to Denver by 15. Then they lost to Bossier City, who we just said only has one win. They lost to them by 16. Then they lost to Lexington by 10. and I remember you're talking about Sin City, and you're like, oh, they're just bad.
They're just bad.
They're just bad. There's nothing more that can be said. They're bad. So one team was on a championship trajectory. The other one was on a path to the first overall pick if we still had a draft, right? But what happened next? Arizona would start a rocky trend of winning and losing repeatedly. They beat Los Angeles, then they lost to Houston, then they beat Bossier City, who hasn't? But Sin City. But then they lost to Albuquerque, and now beating Charleston last week. So they literally, ever since losing to Vancouver, they won and lost and won and lost and won, and they won last week. So are they going to lose now? I mean, obviously that's never the plan. So they need to stop that trend in a hurry, especially because Sin City beat Washington on the road, and then they beat Los Angeles on the road, and then they beat DC on the road. So Sin City loses their first 3 games by 2 scores. Then they have 3 games all on the road in a row, and they win them all. That's backwards, but that's what happened. So now they're back home in Las Vegas. So they're on a 3-game winning streak after starting off the season bad. So it seems to me like they had 3 bad games and then fixed something.
Yes.
And now they've got 3 games of winning on the road, and they're back home tonight against a team that, if their trend continues, is due for a loss, if you will. So Vancouver may sit up top of the West, but the next 3 teams below them each have 3 losses, and that includes these 5-3 Scorpions and 3-3 Samurai. So this is an important game for both of these teams. Even if they're only fighting for second place, which, listen, they could still win the West, but even if they were fighting for second place, they both have the same amount of losses right now, and the only reason that they don't necessarily both have 5 wins is because Sin City's played 2 less games. So
Right.
Sin City could very well get 5-3 here shortly. So talk about Arizona and what do they got to do?
Look, and as you just mentioned, they sit at 5-3 while boasting the league's number 3 scoring offense,
Yeah.
the number 8 rush offense, along with the number 7 total offense. They have the number 2 rusher in Brad Jones on their team, who also leads the league in rushing TDs.
Yeah.
Along with the number 4 passer in Ashley Jackson, who finds receivers Fox Highland, T. DeQueen, and TJ Punk for 11 of her 12 touchdowns, which also ranks in the top 3 in the league right there in touchdowns. They move the ball very well, but it isn't on third down. They are below the league, well below the league average on third down. They rank 17th. That's in the bottom half of the league. And they do a lot of damage to their opponents on first and second downs. They can be very explosive, but they have struggled against better teams.
Mm-hmm.
Arizona, the only win they have against a team that is above 500 is against the Mexico City Aztecs. They are 1-3 against teams with a 500 record or better.
Yeah.
They need to win those games to be able to consider themselves elite as an offense. I know that's nothing Eddie wants to hear, but if you want to be the best, as the man said, Ric Flair, you have to beat the best. And so far, while they have beaten the best the last 2 seasons, they're not the only team in the league. You need more wins than that, and you need your offense to be able to carry you at times to be able to do it.
And obviously going up against a team that's 500 here tonight. So you and I talking pre-show about the defense, and you mentioned how it's not the Eddie Gage defense that you're used to seeing. Why is that?
In the last 2 seasons, the defense has not allowed, previous to the season, has not allowed over 300 yards average per game as a defense.
Okay.
This season, they're far exceeding that.
Okay.
Right. So they're allowing way more than that. This season they are. And despite this, they still are top 9 in third down defense, right? Along with being number 8 in sacks, number 4 in TFLs, number 3 in pass defenses, number 4 in interceptions, and also number 3 in forced fumbles. All led by Sean Big Dog Moore at the linebacker position, who is also tied with his team, team lead in interceptions and tackles with, I'm going to pronounce your name correctly because I love you, with free safety Rain Rie, right? Look, they have pressured the quarterback really well and forced turnovers, but they have to do that against the better teams. They're doing really well against teams that are mediocre,
Right.
and below average. But you have to bring that same type of intensity against the better teams, and that's where they struggle. If you want to make the win the playoffs, Eddie, you won't ever see a championship again if you continue to play the way you're playing. You have to increase it. Look, and as of now, they just haven't really done it. Arizona, I challenge you to be better. I'm questioning whether you can, and you're going to prove me wrong. So for your key players for this week, it's got to be Brad Jones. He's got to get running. He's got to stay on top of it. Ashley Jackson, and they have to also combine to have a balanced attack. If you balance that attack out, it keeps the defensive guessing. On the defensive side, Sean Moore and Adam Weissman, they contribute on all three levels. Adam Weissman has been a TFL machine for probably the last gazillion seasons, right? So he's going to, and they have to continue to do that to establish their dominance this week.
They sure do. Let's talk about Sin City. I already mentioned how they lost their first 3 games, but I almost want to chop that part of the season off and throw it away because they changed something. And since that time, they've been undefeated. And not only have they been winning, but they've been defeating playoff caliber teams in 2 of their last 3. And they've, like I said, they've won 3 in a row. So I think, is this a 500 team? Statistically, yes. Are they playing like one? Not anymore.
So if you think about it, right, from a coaching type perspective, if you're trying to coach up your team, they lost that first quarter. The season was broke up into 4 quarters. Those 3 games, we lost it. But if they win the next 3 quarters, come out with a winning record, they put themselves in the best possible position to actually make the playoffs. And they've done that so far. It doesn't show it on the stat sheet, right? Because if you look at them, they're near bottom in a lot of things, right? It doesn't show it on the stat sheet, but they have been playing extremely well over these last 3 games, forcing 9 turnovers the last 3 games while also drastically reducing their own turnovers. So, which is very good. Look, in their last game that they played, they picked DC off a gazillion times and had 3 pick sixes. They returned them for touchdowns. So defense, it was essential to them winning that game, and they did, right? Beating one of the what was considered undefeated team at the time.
Yeah. And
they lead the SFL with 4 touchdowns off of the interceptions as well. The run game has lacked the dominance that we have seen in the past. In fact, it's downright terrible on offense for them, right? Look, and it's I don't understand it, and I'm gonna get to it in a minute. But look, but they also have wide receiver Al Dillabry Sr., who's also number 5 receptions, 2nd in receiving yards. When they find him, he can be next level. But let's get back to the run game right here. I don't know what's going on when they're just downright terrible from run game. Logan Lee, if I'm not mistaken, he was MVP not that long ago.
Yeah,
ran like a mad person all the way around. He only has 147 rush yards on the season, and his average yards per carry is 2.7.
He's had 147 yards in a quarter before.
I know.
I'm
Look,
sure
and guess
of
what? Like Rojo, Robert Johnson, he's averaging 1.8 yards per carry. He's the only running back on this team that is over 100 yards. It's embarrassing. They only average 47 rush yards a game right now. This trend cannot continue if they want to win ball game, especially against a good team like Eddie's team. So, key players, Scar Patterson, with the run game not being what it is, can he carry a team? I questioned that many times. With the run game not being very good, like I don't know, can he carry the team? Can he? I mean, we see it. They won 3 in a row. Maybe he can. All the running backs, you need to be more productive. You need to up that 47 to a little bit higher. It's secondary. If they continue to take a ball away, they'll give their offense more opportunities to put those points on the board, maybe to get that running game going. So they have a lot to do. Can they do it? I guess we'll see.
We'll see in less than 10 minutes that game gets started. So looking forward to that one. So make sure you stick around. It's going to be a fantastic matchup. Jay Ballmer in the chat says, what was that at the beginning of the show? He came in a little late and heard Houston's theme song. Listen, I know you hate Texas teams, and they're a division rival of mine, but that's how much I respect them. I'll play their theme song at the start of my show. It helps that your son's on the team, so
it works.
But
like Clay, I love you, boy.
Hey, they're number 1, so
I heard, man, they got some recruitment coming through Blake trying to pull me back in. It is. It is. I gotta call DeMond.
You know, you're not even welcome south of the border anymore talking like that. I know you don't want to go there anyway. He doesn't like tacos. Who doesn't like tacos? This guy. Unbelievable. Honestly, I don't even know if I can trust you.
I like quesadillas.
That's not even how you
say
it.
The Oaxaca cheese.
Stop it. Stop. Well, you said that right. So I'm impressed you said Rain Rie correctly. So
dang.
Anyway, all right, let's
my
get into
Cajun
our
accent. That's not cool.
We're running out of time. Let's get into our picks. I'm 45-25 on the season. You're 41-29. So we're doing pretty good. I think this is one of our better seasons in picks. Last week I went 6-2. You went 7-1.
I gained a game.
So yeah, we only picked. Well, you only picked the Bossier City game wrong. I picked Bossier City, and I think I picked Minnesota, and Washington got that win. I tried to will it into existence that Minnesota was a contender. They're not helping me out. So anyway, let's get into our picks for this week. We won't pick the Arizona Sin City game because we're calling it. Chicago at Charleston, our first pick of the night. Who do you got?
I have to go with Chicago. Why? Because they played really good last week. A really good game. Like you mentioned, it was a lot closer than what the score indicated. They were in it. They had a chance to win it. Too many turnovers, but guess what? Even though they're going to be on the road, I don't think Charleston is as good. I'm believing the mad scientists got the stuff going. You guys got it going. I've seen the lab. It's working. It's up and running really efficiently.
You called them out.
Chicago's going to Charleston, and they're going to win.
Yeah, this one was actually a little bit tougher of a game for me to pick because I've seen how Charleston has been doing. And if you compare the team stats between the two, Charleston actually leads in numerous categories compared to Chicago. But your beloved eye test. I gave it the eye test when I was watching highlights and film from that Chicago-Denver game last week. Denver won, but Chicago made it quite a fight. And I think if they can bring that same sort of energy to Charleston, they're going to be able to take down Charleston on the road. So give me Chicago as well in that one. Carolina at Mexico
And you're
City.
laughing. You see the note I put in there.
I see the note you put down.
So, look, it's I'm going to make it quick. Look, Carolina, look, we love that. You need to win games. I like it when we go back and forth and you win games. You prove me wrong. You haven't. It's going to be somewhat of a massacre tonight. You're going down to Mexico City, and it's not going to be good. So you're not going to come back with your life. It's better you just let the team die and create a new one back because it might be better than what you have. Mexico City's going to win.
The note literally on the screen says murder. So that's why I chuckled. Obviously, I'm picking the Aztecs. Go Aztecs. Albuquerque at Detroit. Who do you got?
Detroit, right? We all know what I picked them to be last week. It's going to hold true right here. He'll start their stuff where they're actually going to lose. Albuquerque's starting to find their flow back. They are on the road. They play better at home, but they are the better team in this matchup. Albuquerque.
I agree. This was another one that was close for me. I mean, the records are close. They've been playing similar. I mean, Albuquerque's had some great games, and then they've had some real stinkers. I think they've got whatever was going on there in the middle. I think they've got that turned around. I think Albuquerque, even on the road where they don't play historically nearly as good as they do at home, I think they've got what it takes to get it done. But that one I definitely could be wrong about. But give me Albuquerque in that one. 2-4 Baltimore at 3-4 Minnesota.
So I disagreed when you called them a contender last week. I was like, I don't know if they're a pretender, but they are not who you think they are. So I'm not picking Minnesota. I'm taking Baltimore this week. Why? Because I don't think Minnesota has what you think they have.
Yeah.
Baltimore, I know they are 2-4. They are slightly better than what their record shows. They are what their record is this season. I'm not going to lie. Look, they were in a couple of games, but then they just totally botched a bunch. But they had time off. And they had time off to watch them play and to see how, Minnesota's doing whatever. And when you give a team of the caliber coaching they have that amount of time, they're going to win. They're going to go to Minnesota and win.
All right. Is Baltimore better than 2-4? I think they are. But is Minnesota better than Baltimore? I think also yes. And Minnesota is at home. Give me Minnesota. Come on. I'm telling you, you're a contender. If they lose this one, I take it back. So Los Angeles at Pittsburgh.
I would have worn my shirt, but it didn't come in yet. It's stuck in some random warehouse in Vegas where they print them at. But guess what? Louisiana North's going to win this one. They impressed me last week, right? So I love them, and I still love them. And guess what? They're playing L.A., who is what L.A. has been for a while. They're just struggling and everything else. Pittsburgh, keep doing what you're doing, and you'll be 6-2 after this one.
Pittsburgh record is 5-2, and it's not like other teams where we say, Bossier City's 1-6, but they're better than 1-6. Pittsburgh is 5-2, and they earned it. They are 5-2 for a reason. I think they go to 6-2 after this week. Give me Pittsburgh. Bossier City at Fort Worth, the game we broke down. Who do you think's going to get it?
See, we broke it down. We talked at length about what these two teams are, and I only have to go with right. I like teams for Leanna. I like picking the home team, but right here I have to go Fort Worth. Why? Because they are at home.
Yeah.
So them being at home, I think gives them a little bit of advantage. They're playing the stockyards, especially both these teams struggling. I expect to see different type of game plans for both. We could see it turn into a big shootout because they're looking to change some, turn the season around. I do think this is a turning point for Fort Worth.
I'm going to take Fort Worth as well. I mentioned way at the beginning of the show that I think one of these two teams is going to make a turnaround right here this weekend and start making a push for the playoffs. That team is Fort Worth. I think they're going to start winning a lot of games throughout the rest of the season. So give me Fort Worth to win this one. Oklahoma City has 6-1. Houston, number 1 in the league.
The OKC is not a very good team, despite they
Sorry,
played a tight
Christian.
game last
Sorry.
week. But look,
I know you're watching.
when you get your own song played on the Matt Willson SFL Kickoff show, how can you go against a team that is now number 1 in the league? Houston wins it by multiple scores.
Yeah, Houston, I think, is just going to walk away with this one and go to 7-1, much to my dismay. Monday Night Spectacular, Florida at Queen City.
Yep, and Ray here, guess what? They are at home. I called Florida what they were, and they are, and they will continue to be. Queen City, right? Florida's coming up to Buffalo.
Yep.
And I got to say, let's go Buffalo, not the other team that's playing my team in a couple days, but let's go Buffalo for Ray here. Corsairs wins it.
Keep that energy on Sunday. Florida at Queen City, give me Florida. I knew we were going to disagree on this one.
Why?
I knew we were going to disagree. Listen, I would love to see Queen City get the win. Buffalo is my home team. It was my first team as a player. Come on, Buffalo. Prove me wrong. But looking at the stats, neither team is great. Florida's doing significantly better, though, statistically. So I'm going just with a stats pick here. Not picking with my heart like I just do, with the Aztecs.
You're wrong.
I'm just picking wrong.
You're wrong.
That's right. Yeah, I'm winning the record. Yeah. So give me Florida in that one. That's our picks. And that's all the time that we've got because we've got a game coming up. We've got Arizona visiting Sin City is going to be a great one. You got 4 games to watch tonight. Don't go anywhere. This has been the Matt Willson SFL Kickoff Show. For Gerald Smith, Cameron Irvine, and Ron Haynes, I'm Mike Dykes. Thanks for joining us. Get ready. SFL action is just around the corner.
Helmets gleaming in the sun. Houston headhunters, baby, watch us get it done. Critter on grit, we ain't playing for fun. Every yard we take it feels like a home run. SFL Kings, yeah, we wear the crown. Opponents see the H, then they backing down. We stomp like thunder, leave them in the ground. Ain't no mercy in the game when the hunters come around. Lace them up, strap them tight. We going hard Friday night. Houston headhunters, we don't lose. Taking heads, making moves. SFL champs, that's our groove. Houston pride, we refuse to snooze. Steel on the line, got a wall you can't breach. Our QB slinging rockets, every throw's a peach. Receivers in the end zone, defenses get impeached. Coach got a game plan, no lesson we can't teach. We hunt like wolves, sharp teeth, no leash. Run game strong, yeah, the field's our feast. From the south we rise, bringing heat like the beach. Houston headhunters, best team, capiche. Lace them up, strap them tight. We going hard Friday night. Houston headhunters, we don't lose. Taking heads, making moves. SFL champs, that's our groove. Houston pride, we refuse